for the quality? How can I aim for the quality, right? So the first and foremost requirement is I should have a mechanism to understand my customer's requirement. Tools like Kano model, tools like quality function deployment will make you very, very systematic in understanding your customer's requirement. And not only understand, you will also be able to convert the requirements into appropriate technical specification, right? And that's called quality function deployment. You can see any product comes with some specification. Where from all specification comes? From the customer requirement. We prepared the program for 90 minutes. You know why? You wanted it, isn't it? When I speak for 3 hours continuously, all of you will disconnect and go away. So what is customer requirement? And that should be your specification. That should be your product specification. That should be your program specification, right? Customer requirement is the beginning point towards quality. You should have a mechanism, and importantly, you should have the capability, right? If you really have the capability to deliver what your customer wants, quality begins. That is the first factor that drives quality. Number two, the process. Process will also have its certain requirement, right? And imagine you are manufacturing some aluminum products, aluminum castings, maybe aluminum, cylinders, aluminum blocks. And how do you make it? You will have some requirement. You have to procure the raw material, and then you will have some pressing operations. Maybe you may draw the aluminum, or you may press the aluminum, or you may forge the aluminum. You may melt the aluminum and pour it in a die. What is that you are doing? You are doing some process. Each and everything is a process. And you may have to heat treat, you may have to do the heat treatment. You may have to do some machining. You may have to do some finishing. And then you may have to assemble. And then you may have to pack it. And then you may have to dispatch. If you carefully listen to all my words, all of them are processes. If you are doing a heat treatment, temperature is a requirement. The duration of heat treatment is a requirement, isn't it? And how do I cool my product component after heat treatment? Am I doing air cooling? Am I doing water cooling? Everything, is important. So process requirement, customer requirement is one thing which is difficult to understand. Today also it happened, right? When I wanted your expectation, none of you really spoke out, isn't it? Very few shared it. And so spoken requirement is one thing, but unspoken requirement is much more. So customer requirement is a challenge. Similarly, your process, of course, it cannot speak like the customer. So you have to understand what is your process, what goes inside, under what condition, and what is this process is supposed to produce. You call it output. So for you to get the required output, you should be able to judge correctly on the inputs and the process parameters. This is called process knowledge. These are also called process requirements. If you are not capable of delivering or providing the inputs and the conditions for your process will no will definitely fail to produce the output meeting your customer requirement. So what drives the quality? The next to customer requirement is process requirement. All right, to take care of the customer requirement as well as process requirement, any organization will have employees. Obviously, without employees, it's difficult, right? So employees will have their requirement. What is that? Am I talking about the salary? Am I talking about their packages? No. Technically, technically also there are certain requirement, right? Employee requirement. In Six Sigma, they are considered the process owners. For example, now I am owning the delivery of the program. There are somebody who brought you here, and all of you are just receiving my lecture. So there are different people per playing different role. So every employee is actually owning a process. So for him to produce the output to the next process owner, he should be provided appropriate input. It could be anything. It could be material. It could be machinery. It could be the environment. It could be the conditions. It could be the table, workbench you are providing. It could be the machine you are providing to him. Unless and until he receives appropriate input, how can he ensure he can produce output, no, appropriate to the next process, but he is made responsible for that. So his requirement is also important. If you can understand all the three requirement and properly balance all the three, a business becomes possible. If you are not able to balance all the three, it remains only a concept. It remains only in paper, beautifully. But then it is never a reality. Quality is never a reality. If quality happens, a product bonds, right? You are giving birth to a product and you are giving life to a business. If quality doesn't happens, then no business. And Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma works exactly at the intersection. It always respects the customer requirement. It always respects the process requirement, always respects the employee requirement, right? So quality is taken care. If you take care of all the three requirements, quality is taken care.